Hey superstars, it's your pal Danny with a mobile words are matter. So I'd had the inclination to talk to us about this yesterday via IG Live, and then I chickened out because it is such a cancel cuckoo topic. I feel more comfortable having the ability to edit or not post. I'm sure you understand. So here's what happened. Here's what's going on. I participated in a free 90-minute shadow workshop yesterday morning. The facilitator teacher is someone with whom I've taken classes before. I'm a fan of his work. I think he has a lot of chops in this realm. I'm not going to use his name for reasons that will make themselves apparent in just a moment or so. So I hop on his shadow work call and he speaks for about 20 minutes, and then he opens the call up to the other participants saying, raise your hand if you have a trigger that you'd like to share and I can walk you through the process. So first person comes on. I honestly don't remember what the trigger was. He walks him through the process. Again, like I said, I've done workshops with this guy before and he has shadow chops. So then I don't know why all these texts are coming in don't they know that I'm recording? So then this guy jumps on. He looks like he might be Persian, Middle Eastern. Turns out he's Indian, but with a thick English accent. So I'm not sure if he was calling from England, but it seems very clear that that's where he was born. But he didn't have like notably Indian features or features that were actually indicative of any ethnicity. He just looked like a guy with darker skin. So he comes on and the first thing he says is, I'm triggered by white people and their privilege and their unwillingness to look at their privilege. And then the teacher says, I completely understand. I'm annoyed with my own privilege. In case it wasn't clear, the teacher's skin is what people would call white. I'm not really a fan of describing people that way because white isn't a culture, but that's how he appears, right? So immediately the teacher goes, yeah, I'm annoyed with my own privilege, and then just listens as this guy goes on the most racist rampage against white people and their privilege and how annoying it is. And the teacher, instead of going into coaching mode and encouraging the person to look at what is underneath his bigotry and his intolerance, just keeps nodding and validating, like, yeah, I get it. White people deserve to be like whatever. This call took up the bulk of the entire workshop, which was free. And I mentioned that it's free because in the middle of his tirade about how annoying white people are and how, they're so privileged and black people don't have, black people don't get to do shadow work. They're not privileged enough to do shadow work, and indigenous people aren't privileged enough to do shadow work. Only everyone on this call is privileged. And I want to give myself props for not freaking out in the chat the way I would have maybe a year ago and called out the bullshit. But there was, and the whole chat was people like, you're so brave. Thank you for pointing our attention to our privilege. One person commented, this is a free call. It actually doesn't take any privilege to get on a free call. But also, like, how racist and weird to say that black people don't do shadow work? That indigenous people don't do shadow work? Like, okay, I'm just gonna leave, okay. Says the Indian guy in England wearing like a preppy sweater, anyway, whatever. But okay, here's how it gets even creepier. So the teacher puts all coaching integrity aside to just play into this guy's yes, white people are gross and not guide him any deeper into his own process to see what's beneath the racism. But then the guy, he's going off on how gross white people are. He goes, I would just request that everyone on this call reads white privilege. Again, I'm waiting for the teacher to call him out because, like, shadow work has nothing to do with micromanaging other people. especially the groups that are unintegrated traumas and shadows are indoctrinating us to hate and be intolerant of, and then tell them what to do and control them. That's not shadow work. So then the teacher goes, okay, ma'am, thank you. Yeah, great, thank you. Then he says to the group, would everyone please raise your hand if you're willing to read this book? And all these hands go up. I'm like, what the fucking fuck? So then, as though that wasn't gross enough, the guy finally hangs up without being guided through any processes around taking responsibility for his misguided hatred and bigotry. He then, in the chat, posts a list of 6 books with their authors that he is inviting all of us to read for him, all like of the white fragility, like that kind of thing. Here's the thing, in case you can't figure, in case it's not clear the issues that I'm having with this. One, for me this is the most important, but so we'll come back to it. P.S. It's 11/11. Happy 11/11 portal. So one is, what if the roles were reversed? So what if the person on the call sharing his trigger was a white guy saying, yeah, I'm triggered by black people. I hate them. They all steal. They're all criminals. They're all gross. Do you think the teacher would have gone along with it? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah, I hear everything you're saying about this group that you want to hate. I think that's odd that we give a pass to this kind of disgusting racism that attempts to homogenize everyone whose skin isn't as melanated as whomever is deciding, is running this gross program. But here's the biggest piece, is that teacher really let down that person by offering no coaching, by completely kowtowing to this person's racism, by enabling it, by not calling him in on anything. And I think that's actually racist, because I'm like, are you not calling him in on this shit because he has darker skin? Because that's gross. What, you think he can't handle it? You think that because someone has darker skin, they don't have the tools or the chops to do shadow work? Like, what is going on here? But most of all, my issue is that's not shadow work. So, I mean, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe the free workshop would have been more appropriately named Victimization Enabling Workshop, or Bigotry Enabling Workshop, or Unexamined Shadow Ignoring Workshop. But that's not shadow work. When we're blaming other people for all of our shadows, it doesn't even matter what the topic is. Let's take it out of the realm of racism, right? I am someone who has historically gotten extremely triggered when people parrot misinformation and disinformation, because in me it triggers a fear of losing my right to free speech and a fear of losing my freedom. That's on me. That is on me to heal. The solution for that is not to get everyone to wake up to disinformation, misinformation, and censorship. I know, because I've tried. It doesn't work. And it's not shadow work. Shadow work is where we take 100% responsibility for our triggers and dive deeper. And the reason for those triggers are never something systemic or something political, as noble as that may or may not sound. That's all a ruse. That's all bullshit. What's lying beneath our shadows are personal triggers, personal traumas. And I'm extremely disappointed in this teacher for not showing up for the advertised workshop and guiding this person to find his real deal triggers, instead of enabling and validating his disgusting racism and intolerance. And again, the silver lining of this story for me on a personal level is that I didn't freak out in the chat. I didn't let the world know, let the whole chat know that I thought this was bullshit. I didn't ream the teacher for being completely out of integrity. So yay for growth. It's not on me to teach everyone their lessons. And can we please examine this? I'm not even going to call it reverse racism that's going on, because it's not reverse. It's racism. It's racism against people we're deeming white and attempting to homogenize. So can we please be mindful of this and not kowtow to it? It's It's just getting grosser and working against us. Thanks, tribe.